right, fantastic. Well, welcome everyone. Happy Saturday. This is Dr. Staci Holweger. I am excited to host today's training with all of you. So Marcy asked me a couple weeks ago to do a training, and a little bit different than what I normally do with the science and tech. I'm sure you guys have seen me on Tuesday nights, 9 or 8 Eastern, when I do that every single week. But today she wanted me to share a day in the life of Dr. Staci and what that has looked like in my Lifewave business. And so I really want to take you back to the beginning. We all have a story, right? We all have a past. We all have a history in our life. And in this business and in any kind of business, it's really about being present in the moment where you are and what's happening going forward. But we don't ever want to forget where we came from in our background, right? Whether you have a background in any type of holistic health or not, it doesn't matter. But for me personally, I had an understanding of stem cells and of different types of stem cell therapies. I actually banked both of my kids' cord blood whenever that was not a thing at all. So almost 22 years ago, I was pregnant with my daughter, and I had been watching a learning channel program for some reason that was on the TV. And I wasn't a big TV watcher, so this was what made it really interesting. They were actually talking about curing African-American children of sickle cell anemia with donor cord blood. And I thought, wow, that's really, really far ahead of anything I had ever heard in holistic health or healing or anything, right? And of course, the internet wasn't that prevalent back then, so you couldn't just get online and Google all kinds of stuff. There was no Facebook or Instagram or Reels. We had email, and that was really it. We didn't even have texting back then. Sounds kind of crazy, right? You actually called people on the phone. And so anyway, I thought that was really, really powerful. They went to talk about how they were using that could potentially down the road for heart disease and diabetes and stroke and all these types of things. And I get a postcard in the mail the next week. Now, again, there's no online marketing, trafficking, any of that stuff. Okay. And I thought, wow, this must be divine. I don't know why else would I get this postcard randomly in the mail. I didn't apply for anything on TV. And I mailed it back, and they sent me a packet of information about banking my child's cord blood. And it was $2,500. And everyone thought I was nuts. They are like, what? You don't even know what this is for. And so if you've had a past for people, you've done things and people think you're crazy, just hold tight, right? Things are going to shift and change. And so I did that for both of my children. My daughter's cord blood, we actually donated to science after 18 years. And my son just turned 18 last year. So we haven't done it yet. We'll donate his as well. It's viable for about 18 years. And so they were stored in a cryo facility in Cincinnati, Ohio. I tell you this because that really was God. That was divine. That was setting the precedence for me and the power of stem cells. And throughout my entire life from that point on, what stem cells can do to help repair and regenerate the body. So how does this have to do with the day in the life of Staci? Well, let me just finish telling you the rest of this kind of backstory so you understand where I'm coming from. And so when you hear me talk about what my life looked like when I got started with Lifewave, I think you'll have a better understanding of why and how I did the things that I did. So after I had my daughter and my son, life was going great. My daughter started developing some, little issues, eczema, things like that, bruising. We actually did some blood work to try to figure out. They said she had von Willebrand. She was bruising a little easier than normal. Well, come to find out, she was misdiagnosed with that von Willebrand's, as well as misdiagnosed with several different types of cancer. And we were put into the hospital in an emergent situation. And I say misdiagnosed because she was diagnosed originally with a bone cancer that didn't pan out on their biopsy. So they went on to lymphoma, and that didn't pan out either. So they picked an adult leukemia and said she needed a bone marrow transplant. So we spent an entire year year in the hospital. Literally, she was 4.5 years old, and we walked in that door for this routine little blood work check and didn't walk back out till a year later. And actually, I wheeled her out in a wheelchair, not coherent, on 25 oral and IV meds. She had a PICC line, a central line, a G tube, a trach, a J tube, and a shunt in her brain. And I went home to set up hospital room in my master bedroom to work on the process of weaning her off of those medications and seeing what I had left of a child. So I'm not going to go over the details of everything that happened in there, but we got from that point introduced to some incredible craniosacral therapists and holistic types of practitioners. And we started our journey of detoxification with her and getting her off those meds. It took me 1.5 years to get her off of everything, get everything out of her body, all the tubes and lines except for the shunt in her brain and her G tube. And I chose to keep the G tube, even though she could eat by mouth, just because of proper nutrition. I really think it's a fantastic thing, actually. A lot of kids and people don't want to eat the right kind of foods, and not that you want something invasive in your body, but it allowed me a way to always give her proper supplementation and nutrition, and she could eat what she wanted by mouth. So during the 10 years after that, with all the different modalities and therapists across the globe, we used different types of stem cell therapy to help her body to heal and repair itself. She had suffered a massive brain bleed while in the hospital, had coded while in the hospital, and had more surgeries than I honestly could ever count. I've never tried to count. There were so many. And parts of her body, lungs removed, things like that. So for me, stem cell therapy was the foundation. It was expensive. So we had to, only do it 2 or 3 or 4 times a year because of the cost. In and out of the country. We actually lived in another state. Taylor and I did for 4 months away from Trey and Brent to do, hyperbaric oxygen chamber therapy. So when I tell you that I understand backstory and the trauma and the things that we deal with, I get that. But we have to use that as our fuel to not only change our lives, but to impact other people's lives. So when I get to what my day looks like, I want you to know that drive comes from impacting my child's life, my other child, right, Trey, and Brent and mine, and all the people over the years that have been a part of our journey. And so when I look at wellness and when I look at different modalities and techniques, I'm open to try anything and everything just about to see what it will do to help me and my family improve our quality of life, okay? So fast forward to just a little over 2 years ago, April 2021. I had just come back from a Dr. Joe Dispenza event, an advanced follow-up retreat. So you spend 4 days, like 24 hours a day, meditating and connecting to God and just, and healing. He's real big on the remote healing. So we would do remote healings, send our love and energy intentions into people. And so I came back, and my whole focus has always been alignment, like staying in alignment with God. Lead me, guide me, show me, put me in front of whatever, but in such a way that I have no way to dispute this is divine. Just like that random TV program and a random postcard in the mail, nothing is random. And so when I came home, I was asked by a friend, a yoga teacher, if I would do some meditation breath work for a man that was opening a performance fitness athlete wellness center in my area in Lakewood Ranch. And I'm like, I don't do that. Like, I do retreats, I teach meditation, I do it with small groups, but I don't do anything publicly where I'm recorded and used in a wellness center visually and auditorily on a daily basis. But something inside of me said, do it. So I want you to think about that moment for you right now, when something inside of you said, do this, buy this, try this, give it a shot. Because that moment set me up for where I am right now. I walked into that wellness center, had no idea what I was going to be doing. And I didn't know the man, obviously. This was a friend. I did this for a friend. And he walked me through his entire facility, all the things he did. He wanted me to do this for his salt room. And on the way out the door, he has this beautiful glass case. And he said, oh, and we have stem cell activation patches. Now he has CVAC machines, he has cryo machines, he has saunas, he has the salt room, he has red light therapies, is all this stuff. And he goes, oh, we have these stem cell activation patches. And I'm like, what? Stem cell activation patches? I've never heard of this. And he pulls out the big, beautiful blue packet of the X39 and he gets his phone out. And if you've seen a Whoop, if you guys have ever heard of a Whoop, or maybe the Aura Ring now, even Fitbits and iPhones do this now, but 2 years ago, it was the Whoop. That was the big thing. And he said, look at my metrics. He's a tennis pro, like a coach for tennis. He's a pro tennis player in his past and is a coach at IMG here in Sarasota. So this is a world-renowned college, Bradenton area. That's just, people fly their kids in from all over the globe and put them there for hundreds of thousands of dollars a year because this is like the elite place to be. And this man is a coach there. And he said, yeah, look at what my metrics before the X39 in sleep and anxiety and recovery and stress and just my daily activity. Look at the metrics, right? Think of colors like stop sign and whatnot. And he said, now look at the 30 days I used the X39 in February. And he said, everything turned green, or maybe 1 or 2 yellows, where before I had a lot of yellows, oranges, and reds. And I said, okay, great. And he said, but I thought it was a placebo. So I actually stopped in March and I didn't use the X39 at all. And he said, now look at my metrics. They're better than they were in January, but they weren't as good as they were in February. And I said, great, Lance, this is fantastic. He goes, but look now, this is April. And I met him the end of April, beginning of May. He goes, look now, this is back on the X39. Everything is back to and or better. And I said, great, I'm so happy for you. How much is it? And how can I walk out the door with it right now? And he said, it's $150 for a month's supply. You can, yeah, absolutely. You can buy it today. I went out the door and I immediately came home and put one on Taylor, my daughter. I was like, oh my God, this has got to be the most revolutionary thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I didn't have a catalog. I didn't have a video. I didn't have an explanation. He just showed me an app on his phone. And I was like, I don't even know the man. I don't care. Give it to me. And then literally the next day, a good friend of mine, April Vaughn, we've been friends for 20 years, sent me a message and she's like, Staci, we have to talk. I found something. I was in a wheelchair with my RA. I had all these issues. I couldn't sleep, all this pain. They were putting me in the hospital and I'm out of the wheelchair 7 days later. I found something that's going to help Taylor. And I'm like, send me the link, girl. I'm busy. I got to go, right? My son's got basketball games out of town. So she wants to get on the phone. Well, I love April to pieces, but it's a 3-hour conversation. So I put her off all week long. Seriously. I'm like, I love you, but I don't have time. So we finally, that weekend, she's like, you have to talk to me. I said, okay, fine. But I'm only going to give you 15 minutes because I'm going into my kid's ball game. I just don't have time. So we get on the phone and she starts describing this. And I'm like, now here we are, beginning part of May. And I'm like, wait, what? I think I just bought this. Send me a link right now. She sends me the link. I'm like, I literally just bought this. I was in this man's wellness center. Oh my God, what are the chances? Divine intervention right here. This is God. And so I immediately said, give me your link. I'm in. She goes, no, you got to talk to Kathleen and Wendy. They're going to tell you what patches are the best. They've got, 11 other patches. And I'm like, okay, fantastic. I'll buy whatever. Send me a video. Send me some information. So I'm going to screen share this with you. And I'm going to screen share a lot of things today. And I'm going to show you the first video that I watched on the way home from that basketball game with Trey and Brent in the truck. And both of them were like, that's it. We want this. This is our chance to get stem cell therapy for the price of a cup of coffee a day, where we were spending $25,000 in injection for Taylor in Mexico, not to mention the other things we did. We spent tens of thousands of dollars. So I'm going to show you, I pulled up a few things ahead of time. So on my YouTube, there was a video that she sent me, and I'm going to send this to you. This was the first video that she sent me, this one right here, which was March 2021. So you can see it was right before I found out about X39. So I'm going to copy this link and I'm going to put it in the chat for you guys. Okay. This is the first video that I ever saw. And this is the one that said, I'm in. This is the history of Energy Enhancer and David getting started and who he was and what he was doing and where he was going, right? And that was it. I was sold. In 52 minutes, I was 100% all in to use this product for my family. That was it, okay? Then she calls me back in a couple days and she goes, Staci, David Schmidt is actually going to be in Sarasota, Florida, about 15 minutes from your house doing an event, the first event he's done since all the lockdown COVID stuff has happened around the globe. So it's in 4 days. And I'm like, I got a girls' weekend. Let me cancel it because I'm going to need to hear what the inventor of the technology has to say. I want to get there in person. So I got on the phone with my girlfriend, Laura Balzer, who I knew had treated and cured herself holistically of breast cancer, stage 3 breast cancer, back in 2018, 2019. So I got on the phone with her and I said, Laura, you have got to go with me to this meeting. We have got to hear from this inventor of this technology. It's stem cell technology. She knows me. She knows what I've done with Taylor. We've been friends for, about 15 years now. So she knew all the places I was going. I was recommending stem cell therapy. I actually went to Mexico with other people to get stem cell therapy with them. They went to get it for themselves. I went with them because I'd been across the border in Tijuana and went through the process. So she knew my background with Taylor. So she didn't even bat an eye. She goes, when is it? What time? I'll meet you there. So we get down there. We listen to David. Amazing 2 hours of science and tech, right? He gets into all the details, all the nitty gritty. And after he leaves, there's an hour where it's just testimonials. And she and I get to bring tears to my eyes today. We're sitting there listening to these people, and I'm talking 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, almost maybe even 100 people that came up, because there's 250 people in this room. I'm the youngest one in the room, okay? And the most of the ages 65 to 85. We're crying. We're covered in goosebumps the whole time. All these people sharing their personal experience from X39. And I look at her and she looks at me. She's like, what are you going to do? I said, we are going to tell the world right now. Again, we're not talking about business. We're just going to go tell the world what this is. They have to have this. So then David comes back, does some Q&A for another hour. It's fantastic. And the last 5 minutes, they do a little recognition. And that little bitty baby 5 minutes of recognition, stand up if you're a manager. And we're like, oh, great. There's a lot of old managers in here. No offense, you guys. But they're like, Laura and I came from a company where 2025 was the average age of the person in the network marketing company that she and I were both in for 12 years. We were old in that company. And so we're looking around, we're like, oh my God, look at all these managers. Okay, right? Stand up if you're a director. Woo. We're like, oh, wow, there's a lot. Stand up, come up front if you're a senior director. 90-year-old senior director comes up, tells the audience, if you do nothing else, you use this product, but you tell the world and you build a business because you're going to live a whole lot longer than you ever thought. And you're going to need a lot of income. And this is the way to do it. And we're like, did that 90-year-old man just say that? Okay, but still didn't register. Then she says, come up front if you're, there were no executive directors in the room. Come up front if you're a presidential director. There were 2 women that came up. You guys know, Beamy Casey and Amy Holmesby. You know them. Those 2 ladies came up and they shared just an individual little success tip. I'm talking 30 seconds to 60 seconds long. And I looked at Laura and Laura looked at me and I'm like, these 2 girls at the top of the company, these 2 women, not that they're old, but I was like, oh, okay, something's going on here then. I'm going to need to know a little bit more about this income opportunity. So I get in the car. I call April. Now, April had purchased a gold pack. I had purchased a platinum pack, okay, for our product, for our family. I said, April, I need to get a hold of somebody that knows something about this business. Where's the average monthly income disclosure statement? She goes, I don't know. I'm just buying the product. Let's get a hold of Kathleen and Wendy. So we call Kathleen and Wendy and they're like, we don't have any clue what that even is. Like, do you guys make money? right? I'm a six-figure income earner in my past company yearly, multiple, made millions of dollars in that company. And I'm like, you don't have an average income, monthly disclosure statement? Nope. What kind of money do you guys make? We don't know. And I'm like, okay, give me somebody that does. And they're like, well, go to startx39biz.com. And here's Marcy's cell phone. Call her. You all know Marcy. I'm going to share something else with you guys. This is what I did when I got home. All of that took place maybe while I was driving down the road because I was that excited. So I went to startx39biz.com, which is right here. I clicked on the 14 steps to success. Still same today, right? Obviously, Marcy's made some amazing updates and it looks gorgeous. And I scrolled down, didn't care what any of this said, to where it says learn the compensation plan, tab number 11. That is what I did. I came down here, I looked at this 2-page hot sheet, and I printed it out. Here are my printouts right here from over 2 years ago. I printed this out. I want you to go to startx39biz.com if you have not yet. I want you to scroll down to the compensation tab, and I want you to print this out. This 2-page hot sheet has been my Bible, because if you're going to be in a business, you better know how you're making money. Maybe it's not your wheelhouse to understand everything to a T from day one. That's okay. My wheelhouse of being in multi-level marketing for 20 years, obviously during that was alongside of taking care of Taylor and Trey, right? But it allowed me to reach hundreds of thousands of people that I would never have been able to reach if I had wanted to open a wellness center or something like that, or work in an office. There were 3 times in my life when I thought about opening a wellness center. Each time God introduced me to a multi-level marketing company and said, nope, you have hundreds of thousands of people to impact, not just a few in your local area. So I printed this off. The other thing I did was I came right here to this 15-minute video and I watched it, and I printed off these charts. I'm going to show you these: the manager, director, and senior director. In my previous company, we had charts. You don't go anywhere without a chart, because the chart is going to tell you how to grow your business. So when you scroll down here, the other thing I printed off was the compensation plan. I did print all of this off. It looks a little different now than it did back then. It was a 22-page PDF, but I did print the whole thing off. And you guys can see this okay, right? Donna, can you see this okay? Can you see the manager? Yeah? Okay. Yes? David, can you guys see this? Yes? Okay, cool. Thank you. So I printed this off, manager to senior director. When you get in a car and you're traveling across country, or when you get in a boat and you're going out boating, you have a map. You have a step-by-step guide to get you from point A to point B, or otherwise you're not going to end up at your destination. And I know that. So this was my map. I thought, okay, so in this business, after that 15-minute video, I printed these off because that's what Marcy and Peter said. And I said, all right, this is me. Well, I needed a gold pack. Obviously, I had purchased a platinum. Let me upgrade to diamond because I'm going to need some more patches. I'm going to be patching people. How did I know I was going to be patching people? I had no clue. No one told me I needed to patch people. I just knew I needed to have some inventory myself to be able to share with people, because it could potentially make them decide that they wanted to purchase. Because sometimes people just want that little tangible thing in their hand. Not that they're going to expect an experience from it, but they just want to see it, feel it, put it on, whatever. Right? So I printed this off, manager and above. Perfect. I'm going to get that, right? So if you look down through here, you can see there's director and there's senior director. So I'm going to talk to you about how I accomplished these and what my day looked like here in just a second. So that was my beginning. My beginning was right there. So what did I do from there? I got a notebook. I grabbed a notebook. That's what I did next. This is all happening literally with the day I got home from that meeting. I watched 15 minutes, printed off those PDFs, and I got myself a notebook and I started making a list. Here is my first list right here. Day 1. Look at this thing. There are people crossed off of here because they said no. You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. 5 said no. The rest of them said yes. Okay. So this is what you do when you get started. You make yourself a list. Now I want to show you something. This is some of my notebooks. Do you guys see that? Those are some of my notebooks over the last 2 years. The more recent ones over the last 2 years. All the people that I've talked to, all the information, everything's in there, right? I keep track of that, and I'm a notebook person. Some people are spreadsheets. I've always used notebooks. It's just how I organize myself. You may organize yourself different, whatever works best for you, but you've got to get people's names on paper. And I'm promising you, there is power to the pen. You cannot always have everyone's name in your head. So what did I do first? I made a list of people that I knew were into health and wellness, that cared about their health, that were into detoxing, that were into different holistic modalities, maybe essential oils or herbs, acupuncture. Maybe they got regular massages. They went to the chiropractor. Those were people that are doing things different. Those were the first people I reached out to because that was my world. Maybe your world is, you're in a lot of pain, you have chronic issues, you've got, whatever XYZ all over your grocery list. Maybe you have a network of people that you want to help with that situation. But for me, this was about prevention. This was about vitality and longevity. So that's where I started. And I sent a very simple voice message to every one of these people. And I said, I have found the holy grail of healing. We have to get on the phone immediately and have a conversation about this. I have got to send you some information. And that was it. And they're like, okay, what is it? I need it now. Whatever you're talking about, I want it. So that's where I started on day 1. Okay. Now that was a Saturday. So what happened on Sunday and on Monday? What happened on Sunday was, Monday, Laura and I went to, I'm going to share this again. Monday, Laura and I went to Laura's condo and we got on a Zoom with Marcy. And Marcy, who we never met before, I went over all this. I had 2 questions in a comp plan. And I said, I understand your comp plan completely. I get it. I understand binaries, everything. I just need to know what flush means. And I need to know, do you guys have compression? How does that work? And so what she said was our volume flushes after 52 weeks. And I'm like, 52 weeks? Every company I've been in, it's 30 days. And if you don't get paid on it, it's gone. Not in this company, 52 weeks. I'm like, oh my God, are you joking? And I said, what about compression? She goes, yeah, if someone falls out, then the other people compress up to you. I'm like, fantastic, I'm in. So she showed me her back office. Obviously, I got to see what she was making. And I'm like, you're making this and you've been in the company 1.5 years per week? I looked at Laura. She threw me her credit card. I said, 1 second. Hang on 1 second. I think I've got a strategy for this. So for me, I upgraded myself to Diamond instantly. I signed up my husband as Diamond. I texted him. I said, send me your credit card right now. He's like, why? I said, because I'm getting ready to purchase $1,800 worth of product. He's like, I said, just trust me. And he knows if I say, trust me, you're going to trust me. It's going to be all worked out perfectly fine. So right here, this was Brent. Okay. He came in as Diamond. The second I got him in, Laura came in right here as Diamond. Okay. Now we're talking, this is within 15 minutes. So on the way home, 2 of the people that I had said to over the weekend, this is the holy grail of healing. One of them, I had to pull over in the parking lot of Starbucks, honestly, because you can't enroll someone while you're driving down the road. So one of them came in right here as gold. This was a friend of mine. She'd been a friend in holistic stuff forever. She was in my previous business, but had a child, not interested in building a business. She just wanted to be a customer, but she came in as a gold for she and her husband. And my other person that came in right here, this was Lindsay. This is Gayla. Gayla came in, I think she came in as a gold, but upgraded to Diamond right away. And so she came in as a Diamond as well and decided she wanted to build a business. Gayla and I did know each other. She was in my business for my other company. But again, things had kind of fizzled out at that point. So it wasn't that we came over and brought, 500 people from another company. She came in herself, just like I came in myself. And Laura, my friend, came in as well too. So this happened within my first 2 hours. Okay. And what happened then on Monday, here is the day in the life of Staci Holweger. Monday morning, these people got invited to my 11 a.m. Zoom. I had a Zoom at 11 a.m. Eastern time because I watched Peter say, BLD is how we build this business. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Well, I live in Florida, so breakfast is at 11. Lunch is at 3, dinner is at 9. The company didn't have anything to do with this. So just so you understand, Peter and Marcy have the Patching Podcast, which is at 9 p.m. Eastern every single night, Monday through Thursday. So I thought, okay, they're doing 9 p.m. We'll all plug into that for the testimonial Zoom. Mind you, I've never been on a testimonial Zoom, and I'm a manager. Okay. And I've already made my money back plus some in my first literally couple days. I decided to do my own Zoom at 11. Now I don't have April coming to my Zoom. I don't have Kathleen or Wendy. I don't have Mariah or Sean or Marcy coming to my Zoom. It's 11 o'clock. It's my Zoom. I'm going to do a Zoom. I'm going to invite my people, and I'm going to explain the science and technology of the patches to them in a few minutes and see what questions they have and to help them get set up. Now, what do I know? I know I've watched one video. I heard David talk for 2 hours, and I heard a whole bunch of testimonials of people in person. I was just fired up. I'm excited. This is going to change so many people's lives. People are suffering, right? I know this. People are in bad shape. A lot of people are in bad shape. This is going to make a huge difference. I don't have to know all the details. I just know that this is going to help people because I heard other people share their personal experience. And I listened to one video of David, and I watched Marcy and Peter. And obviously something's working because I looked at Marcy's check and I'm like, oh my God, that's impressive in network marketing alone, let alone in this day and age, right? And in a company that no one's ever heard of. So 11 o'clock comes, Laura invites people, I invite people, and we get a couple people to join, right? And what happens then? Not only do I have mine, here goes Laura, and she goes manager right then, okay? And then here's Gayla over here. She invited a couple people, right? She gets on the phone. She starts talking to people. Boom. Within 4 days, Laura was actually director. Within 5 days, I was director. And Lindsay was a manager. Gayla was a manager. And Laura was a manager. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I did 11 a.m. Zoom. If they couldn't come to 11, I did 3 p.m. And we said, bring your people. Just bring your people. We'll just share a few minutes of the science and tech. That's it. 3-4 minutes. This is how it works. Here's what you put it on. And we'll see what their questions are and answer their questions and tell them how to get themselves set up with a silver or above pack. So by the end of the week, Laura and I are both directors from breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And obviously, the list grows, right? We add more names because we're like, oh my God, we know more people. We've got to help more people. And so then in a 3-week period of time, I went from 0, never knew this product existed. And I'm a senior director with Laura as a director and Gayla as a director in 3 weeks. It actually happened when I was in Texas with Trey and Brent and one of Trey's buddies on a ranch, a dude ranch out there. And I'm there and Marcy asked me to come on and share. I'm 3 weeks in the company and I go senior director while I'm out there. And she goes, can you come on and share your testimonial on our Patching Podcast Thursday night? I'm like, well, I'm in Texas in a hotel room here, but sure, at a dude ranch, I can share. And that was the start of my business. And I wanted to share that with you because that's still happening today with us doing Zooms. Now, I don't do the 11 and 3. We did that solid for 6 months, Monday through Friday, 11, 3, and 9 for 6 months. Now, maybe that works in your schedule. Maybe it doesn't, but no one did it for me. I did it. And I said, hey, join me. Let's do this. Come be with me. And if it's nothing more than you jumping on the 9 p.m. and inviting everyone you can every night, Monday through Thursday. Obviously now we have our 4 p.m. But in that 6-month period of time, I went from zero, knowing nothing about Lifewave, to a presidential director, earning I'm just going to tell you, $15,000 a month. Okay. I was earning over $15,000 a month in a period of 6 months because I stayed consistent with adding new people to my list as I thought of them, as they popped into my head, as I saw them on social media. Everything I did was off of social media, on Zoom, and in person. I'm going to tell you about the in person again, because I know I just did the Zoom on it a couple of weeks ago, but I'm going to tell you about that here in just a second. But a 6-month period of time of consistency, of excitement, of passion. Did I know all the stuff I know about the patches today? Oh, of course not. Thank God Marcy has startx39now.com, startx39biz.com, but I didn't know all the things I knew that I know now back then. I just knew I was excited and I wanted to help a lot of people, and I'm going to get really good at reaching out and inviting, because I learned years ago in network marketing that the people that put the most butts in the seats make the most money. And I don't mean you have to actually be in person, but I mean this is butts in seat, right? We've got 220 people on here right now. These are 220 people that are learning, that are gathering information. And of course, ours was always product focused, but we had our weekly business meeting too, right? And we still do. We still have our weekly business meeting. So during that 6 week, you heard me the other day, a couple weeks ago, on talking about patching parties. During that 6-month period of time, we did 2 times a month in-person patching parties. Now in Florida, we've never been on lockdown. So in 2021, no one cared. In 2020, no one cared. We're healthy. We're living our best lives. Everything's fine. And not saying some people weren't affected. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying we didn't restrict anything here. And so we could all get together at all times. And we did that. We started that immediately right out of the gate. And, I started mid-May, Laura came in and we got started with our parties in June. We would do one down in her area. She's about 45 minutes south of me. And we would do one a little bit about 30 minutes north of me, so we could reach people in both areas. We got on Facebook and we typed in the friend section, Sarasota, Bradenton, and we found all the people on our Facebook in those areas, and we started inviting, because neither one of us have been born and raised here, right? I've lived here now almost 9 years. She's lived here, I think, maybe 7 years. And so we didn't have massive networks. I'm from Indiana. I have 40 years of networks. And a lot of those people are on my social media, but there's a lot that aren't too. So I didn't have that in my backyard to where I could go and pull from. The only networks I had in my previous company, I did BNI and I did networking groups. And so I made connections and relationships and friendships and became friends with them on social media. So I would invite them to these patching parties. We called them patching Prosecco parties. And because, a little Prosecco, a little bubbly, whether it's grapefruit juice or whatever, you didn't have to drink. It wasn't like nobody was getting trashed. We were just coming 1 hour, have a little bubbly. Here's your X39. We'll do a little, presentation, share a little bit of information. We use our health tracker, like I went over before, and let them fill their own health tracker out and talk to them about the benefits of the patch, give them some water. And of course, then they would sign up whatever pack they wanted for themselves and their family. And we did that, okay, consistently on Zoom, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and in person twice a month for a 6-month period of time. That's what happened from consistency and excitement and passion, and always working on growing this list. Okay. That is your key, is being open to reaching out to all the people you know. Like a lot of times people prejudge. Oh, I don't want to say anything to him. He's a doctor, or he's smart in that area, or I don't want to say anything to her. She doesn't have any money, or whatever you're thinking, right? When you can let go of any of these preconceived ideas about people and just say, I've got this. I want you to, and this is what I say. I've come across something that I think you might be interested in. I would love to get your feedback and opinion on this. Would you be open to take a look at it for me? right? You guys have heard me say that before. I'm really big on asking permission. I've come across something that I think you might be interested in. I would love your feedback and opinion. Are you open to take a look at this for me? Sure, right? That comes back. So my business has happened from texting people, emailing people, and Facebook messaging people all privately. I wanted to build my business belly to belly because I know how to build it in social media. Like I shared before, in my last company, there was no social media when I got started, and I got to the top of the company and did it all belly to belly. We would do 3 to 4 parties per week. 3 to 4 per week, right? Not per month, but per week. We would do 3 to 4 per week. They were only an hour and a half each. It was no big deal, but we were growing, right? We were growing our business rapidly with intent. And when I got into Lifewave, then, obviously I applied that, but we did so much on Zoom that I just did the 2 in person. You have to do what's best for you, but I knew I wanted to build this business, what I would say privately, without posting on social media. Because once I got to the top of that company, then social media came into play. And I started utilizing social media to take my business even beyond to a completely different level, and was so grateful for that, right? Made lots of connections online and grew my business with people I didn't even know around the globe because of social media. I was flying to Europe. I was flying, I had a massive team out in Texas. So I was flying all over the place, California. I look at my memories every day. I'm somewhere with that past company. I'm somewhere with some team, whether it's Jersey or who knows, right? I'm all over the place. And I love that. I love to travel. I personally love to travel. Like, I can't wait till next month. I'm on an airplane 3 different times, 3 different individual. There's going to be a lot of airplanes, but let's just put it this way. I've got 3 trips next month, and I've got a stack of books over there that I cannot wait. Like, I listen to books and audio all the time in the car, but I can't wait to dive into those 5 books that are over there when I get on those planes next month. I'm going to devour all of them. What else do you do on an airplane? You read, right? And the person next to you maybe have a chit-chat conversation, but you're there to educate yourself. So flying university, like my rolling university. So when I got to the top of the company in Lifewave, it took me a year to get to the top of the company. And I'll finish up my story with Taylor for those of you that do or maybe don't know that. In the end of January of 2022, she went in the hospital very unexpectedly with some kind of like issues not being able to urinate. We had no idea why, but we ended up spending a month in there. And they tried to diagnose her with cancer again. We're like, we haven't seen a doctor or a hospital or facility in over 12 years. Like, that makes no sense. But we ended up having complications, and one thing led to the next, and we spent 5 weeks in there. We got out of the hospital in February. Took me about March to the beginning of April to get her off the medications they had her on. And when you have a kid in a situation where she's nonverbal, and then she's not urinating, something's not right. You're doing battery of tests and blood work, and then something goes wrong. Let's just be honest, it's fluid imbalance, and you're trying to get that under control. And anyway, we got out of the hospital. She was doing better in April. I got her off all the medications. Things were looking great. She was happy. And she passed away very unexpectedly in May. She woke up one morning throwing up, which was not like her. She never threw up. And she wouldn't open her eyes. We ended up taking her to the emergency room, and we life flighted her to the children's hospital up north that we'd been to back in one time back in 2020. And she was gone within 36 hours. So for the beginning part of 2022, it was a little rough. I was off the grid for a few months. Thank God for Laura and my team that kept growing and building. And Laura stepped in and to do the Zooms every day, right? Every single day, multiple times a day, and do all my calls, all my Zooms, everything while I was with Taylor. And after all that happened, and we did end up promoting to senior presidential director team in June of 2022. So just a little over a year ago. So know that when you put in intense intention and effort to put yourself out there to make a difference in people's lives, to add value to people's lives, that doesn't go unnoticed. by anyone, and especially not by God, right? You don't have any attachments to people. You don't have any preconceived ideas. I always say every yes is divinely guided and every no is divinely guided. I'm not here to pick who this technology or this income opportunity is here to bless. God is, right? Why would I think that I should have a choice in that or a say in that? I'm not here to convince anyone. I have something amazing. I feel it as valuable, and I've seen value in other people's lives, both physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially. But it's not my job to pick who says yes or no, or to even worry about it. There is no rejection in my world. It just means you're not interested now or maybe never, and that's okay. We have 8 billion people on this planet. That's 8 billion people that I can impact. What if it's even half? What if I start something that helps half of the planet improve their quality of life? Half the planet be able to stay out of bankruptcy, to be able to save their house. That is what we're here for. We're here for something much larger. And I think sometimes we get stuck and caught in our own head, in our own little world, and all these worries and fears of what we think people may think when they're not even thinking about you, right? And even if you did send them a message and they think you're spamming, who cares? You're like, no, I'm not spamming. I'm just trying to tell you about something I come across. If you're interested in it, great. If you're not, great. So you have to keep that in mind, that there's a much bigger purpose here. David Schmidt's purpose is massive, right? He's helped millions and millions and millions of people because of being open to, not judging, not worrying, but listening to God, listening to those divine drop-ins and acting on them. That's all I've done. I've listened, I've stayed in alignment, and I've acted. And that's what I want you to do, right? We know what to do. We know that it just requires us to reach out to people. And when you do that from a place of, I have something to help you, if you want it or not, it's here. I would love to share it with you. If not, I'm going to move on. That's where you come from. And you do that with intention and with consistency, you will get to where you want to be in this business. Because at the end of the day, when you're doing this, right, your goal, you have a goal, okay? You have a goal of what you want to accomplish, a rank you want to achieve, an income you want to, reach, whatever it may be for you. For me, I have been to the top of another company before. So I know what that feels like. It was amazing, but I never reached that income level that I wanted to reach, that I wanted to accomplish in that company. I made great income. I got really far. I was in the top 30 income earners in that company, but I never got to where I wanted to be. And things started to shift and change in the company and go a different direction. And I was no longer aligned with them. So didn't make it there. And so with Lifewave, I always say, God save the best for last, right? Third time's a charm. And this definitely, which was not what I expected to be a part of, another multi-level marketing company. But whenever I, got involved, I looked at that income and I thought, whoa, this is serious money. And there are people making more money in a month than most people ever make in a year in this company. And there are people in this company, I saw David right away, and then I flew out to California a couple of weeks later. So I got to see, a lot of people that have been in for 12, 15, 18 years on that stage in California. And I'm like, wow, these people are just as fired up today, 18 years later. I mean, what kind of amazing company is that to be a part of, to know that really we're just getting started, but yet there's so much history and so much commitment and dedication in this company. I'm on the field advisory board, Marcy and I both are, and we work on the board with people that have been in the company over 12 years. We're like the newbies. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of cool. It's awesome. But it gives you that perspective of these people never quit. They've stayed consistent. They've helped people and they've impacted millions of people's lives. And like I said, we're just getting started, right? We're just coming up that curve. And David said the other day on our senior presidential director Zoom, that, we are right now, our sales this year will be more than they've ever been in the history of Lifewave. Our sales in June were more than they've ever been in the history of Lifewave. Like, how is that? Meredith shared, and the Direct Selling University just had an event, and for all the direct selling, companies, and we didn't report our earnings for some reason. I didn't catch why she said we didn't, but she said if we would have reported, we would have been number 35. You're like, what? Like, seriously? And we're looked at as the darling out there right now. Like, what is happening that you have something so revolutionary, like that's been invented by your owner, and yet you have this compensation plan that is so lucrative? Like, people are making serious money. And when I say serious money, $50 a week, $100 a week, that's an extra, $200 a month, an extra $400 a month. That's serious money. Where can you get started and make that kind of money out of the gate easily, or much more than that? It's up to you, and you have that opportunity in front of you. And I know that it's important, and I'm going to end this by sharing you what I do during the day now. It's important for you to honor yourself and your own goals and what you want to accomplish, what you want to do with this. It's not about what I did or what Marcy did or what Peter did or what Donna did or Laura did or anybody else did, right? It is about what you want. But you're going to have to get a notebook out and you're going to need to write that down. What do I want to accomplish in the next week? What do I want to accomplish in the next 30 days, the next 60 days, the next 90 days? It's really important that you honor you and what you want out of this, but also be willing to grow. Be willing to grow your mind. Your income will only grow to the extent that you do, and it's all here. I did a book club the beginning of the year with my senior directors and above, Wallace D. Wattles, The Science of Getting Rich. If you have not read that book yet, I highly recommend you get it. It's from 1910. When I got into network marketing 20 years ago, the company I got into was Arbonne, and they said, don't study the product, use it all. It's incredible. We want you to read this book, The Science of Getting Rich, and don't read it until you're rich. Now, this is not even 2020. It is 2005, not even 2004, right? 2004, when I get into this company and they said, read this book over and over and over again until you're rich. I'm a school teacher. I have a master's degree. I got a 1 and a 3-year-old kid, and I'm making $1,800 a month. So I start reading the book. I'm using the product and reading the book, right? Well, 4 months later, I've earned a white Mercedes. So is my husband, and I'm making $8,000 a month. And he's like, what? I'm like, I need to quit teaching. He's like, no, we don't know what this network marketing thing is. You can't quit. I'm like, oh my God, this is too much to teach and have a 1 and 3-year-old and run a business on the side on email and in person, but I'll do it. So the school year ends. I'm making $15,000 a month. And he looks at me, he goes, and you will never teach another day in your life. I said, exactly. I'm still teaching. I'm just teaching something totally different on health and wellness. And I'm out there, and we're done. I'm done with inside of the walls, right? But the most important thing and the most impactful thing for me was the day after I quit teaching, and I'm outside. Trey's like, he's still in a little, swing on the playground out back, right? Swinging him back and forth in the little buckled in thing. And Taylor looks up at me, and she's 3. And she goes, Mommy, you get to be home with us now because of Arbonne. And I'm like, oh my God, that 9 months, I don't remember Christmas. I don't remember Thanksgiving. I don't remember either one of my children's birthdays because I was working full-time day, working full-time night, building this business. I don't remember anything, but I'll tell you what, that has been 20 years, right? And I have the freedom and flexibility and the income to be able to do all the things we did with Taylor all those years, and with Trey, of course, as well too, and all his activities, but to be able to have a life and live our life around our business, right? And we always have just woven it into what we're doing. So know that your goals are your goals, okay? What does my day look like now? Brent and I get up, between 6 and 6:30, because that's when Callie gets up, which is Taylor's poodle. She wanted a poodle after she got out of the hospital last year, a little white cream color poodle named Callie May. And so we got the poodle, and the poodle likes to get up early. So we get up between 6 and 6:30 to take her potty still, even though she's a year and a half old. And we make ourselves a little cup of coffee or a little go-go juice. We call it electrolyte amino acid, little drink. And we sit on the couches, and we open up my back office, and we have a conversation about my volume and about my team and who's close to promotion and which team is growing where the next event is. And every morning we look at that back office together. We spend some time just having chit chat, maybe 30 minutes max. And then you know what we do? We go for a bike ride, or we go to the gym, or he may have to go to work for an appointment, or maybe I have to go to work. But 9 times out of 10, we're doing some type of exercise in the morning. At 7 a.m. we're exercising, even if it's 30 minutes, sometimes it's 45 minutes, sometimes it's an hour, right? Sitting in the sauna, whatever it may be, but we're both exercising and moving our body in the morning. And then, he goes his way, I jump in the shower, go my way. And from there, my day varies from day to day, but the bulk of it is me having conversations with people on text and on Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp. That's the bulk of my messaging, right? With new people, following up with old people, answering questions with the team, interacting, a lot of group chats, a lot of group Facebook messages, because people are putting me in them, asking questions, and they're wanting an answer on, XYZ symptom that so-and-so has. So it takes 2 seconds for me to respond back in a text message or a Facebook message. And I get on Zooms. I do 30 minutes only. And it would be myself and somebody else, or maybe myself and someone on my team, and a practitioner or a person that we are prospecting, right? That we've sent information to, they're interested. We have our set time. They pick our calendar. You guys have seen me talk about that. I use the Calendly app. And so anyway, we get onto the Zoom, and I'll do 30 minutes. I'll share science and tech for a couple minutes. I'll let them ask their questions, and then I'll send them a follow-up email. Or if it's someone asking about the product, their own health issues, then I'll share a little bit of the science and tech. They'll ask their health questions, and then I'll make my recommendations, and then we're on our way. Everything's 30-minute block. If I do 3-way calls, then I merge those in. I have consultation calls for my business, Dr.Staci.com. I have consultation calls. And so those are an hour. So those are on the phone or on Zoom. Those are woven in through the day. Obviously, I have to put my lunch in there. I block myself a lunchtime, 30 minutes for lunch. I block myself some dinner, but I do different trainings at different times, right? So some days I work starting at 9 a.m. on the computer or on Zoom. Some days it's not till noon. Like Tuesdays, I'm not done till 10 p.m. So Tuesdays, I typically do any appointments I need for myself, whether it's chiropractor or massage or acupuncture, whatever it may be. I'll do that during the morning, and then I'll turn around and work later at night on Zoom. So it just depends from day to day, but the days are filled up with what's on my calendar, right? So I block out my life, my personal, my exercise is blocked out on there. My self-care is blocked out on there. And then I share my Calendly link, and people have the ability to utilize that during the hours that are available, right? And so being intentional with your day, no matter if you have a full-time job or whether you're retired, it doesn't matter. Being intentional with your day and with your goals is going to get you where you want to be if you stay consistent with it. It's going to require that intention. What do I want? And then staying consistent with it until you check those goals off, and then you move to the next one, right? You check that off and you move to the next one. And it's not just about accomplishing something just for a status or a rank. It's the journey along the way. Who you become on this journey is the most important thing, and the value that you add to other people's lives. Again, it does not matter what your background is. It does not matter your understanding of this. You don't have to have been in multi-level marketing. You have to have a heart. You have to care for people and want to add value to their life without any limiting beliefs or fears or worries, right? Know that you are divinely guided every step of the way. And when you live your life that way on purpose, you wake up, you go to bed at night and you sleep amazing. You wake up in the morning and you're excited for the next day. And it's not all peaches and roses every single day, right? It's not puppy dogs and kittens every day, but it is making a difference in people's lives. And you can see that as that time goes on. So whatever your day looks like, I recommend that you write it down, what you want it to look like. Be intentional about what, if you had no restrictions, what would your day look like? So I'm going to leave you with that homework because I've done this a gazillion times and it really is very, very powerful and does work. I'm living the days that I want right now because of what I wrote 20 years ago and what I have continued to write over the years. So what do I want Monday to look like? What do I want Tuesday to look like? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What do I want each of these days to look like? If you take the time to write that down, those things will come to fruition if you stay consistent with it. They really will. That's just the power of our God to create with you the things that you want. So thank you all for being here today. I am so excited for your futures with Lifewave because, like I said, they're just getting started and we are in the right place at the right time right now as we hit 1 billion families and beyond. And this company is ready to do that. So thank you all. Go enjoy your Saturday and we will see you Monday at our Patching Podcast, 9 p.m. Eastern.